How's it going? Hi. What's up, y'all? I hope the lighting is okay. Who gives a shit, right? So, I'm not a huge fan of being on camera right now. So, if I act a little strange for a little bit, that's why. You know. I mean, I always act strange. For real, though. This is a different strange. So, okay. Y'all know, if you've watched me before or anything I do, I know it's been a while since I've been able to put a lot into my channel, and it's not because I didn't want to. It's not. I really enjoy what I do. The reason that I stopped is because I was taken by spirit onto a very long and difficult karmic experience, and I was I don't know, I guess it was sort of like a dark night of the soul experience in a way. I'm not really sure what to call it, except for that I am positive that it was some off the motherfucking hook karmic shit. It was generational. It was there was a lot going on. Bottom line, I stopped doing the channel because I was literally surrounded by demons, dark energy, energy vampires, sexual addicts. It was one of the roughest years of my life. So I stopped doing the channel because I love you guys, okay? Like, I know, like, I'm kind of a bitch sometimes, and I'm pop-offish, and I'm just gonna tell you how the fuck it is, and I don't always like all of you, okay? That is the honest truth, but I love you, and I love myself, and I take what I do seriously, okay? Now, I understand how energy works, so if I'm going through some shit, and I'm surrounded by a lot of negative shit, if I start doing videos, it's gonna affect all of you negatively, and I ain't about that life, okay? Aw, there's a little dog taking a walk and he's got a cone on. So cute. Sorry. Squirrel. Okay, anyway, yeah, so I stopped because I had to. Like, there was no other way. Like, I had to. And, I'm still slowly being able to start doing my channel again. I love doing this. There's so many things that I've wanted to do with this channel that I haven't gotten the opportunity to do yet. I have so much wisdom. I've been through so much shit. Like, and I make it my life's mission to be a hollow bone for spirit, and that shit's hard to accomplish. It is, I have to do a whole entire video just on its own just to explain what that entails. It is not just like some shit you say, okay? There's a lot of shit that goes into that, and it's hard, okay? But that's what I aspire to be. That's, one of my life purposes. It's not a mission, it's just, I don't know, it's just who I am, I guess. I mean, it's a choice. It's a choice. It's true. I mean, it's a choice. I could just be like, nah, fuck that shit. I'm just gonna live straight up 3D, just gonna chase that paper, just gonna be a pimp, you know, just gonna be covered in, you know, designer everything. And man, I could do that shit. Shit, I'm CEO level. I could do that shit. I could be running shit. But that's not my choice. That's not, I feel like I've already done that shit lots of times in past lives, and I was real good at it. And it's not like, you know, anyway, this isn't about me per se. I was just gonna say, it's not like I'm not gonna have money or whatever, but I guess I have to continue. What I'm trying to say is, because I've chosen the life path that I have, if I, you know, am extremely wealthy someday or whatever, it's gonna be because that's spirit's choice for me. Not to say I don't have choices in my life, because I do, but my life, my path, being a hollow bone for spirit, that's part of it. It's saying I want to clear me out so that spirit can fill me. And so it's a co-creation constantly with everything. It's hard. You know, I'm like, oh, I just want to go do this shit. But then, you know, that my higher self is like, hey, did you check that with spirit first? That shit's hard. And I ain't saying I'm not good at it, but, you know, I do my best. So, yeah, anyway, I love doing this channel. There's a lot of things. I have a lot of plans. Not necessarily plans, aspirations, desires. Again, it doesn't matter, because I'm a hollow bone for spirit, so I serve spirit. You know, this is a spiritual endeavor. This isn't about me. It's never been about me, in the way that this is about my human avatar. Not this channel. Not this. So, you know, I have done videos, I have given messages, and, you know, my ego-based self is in my head like, are you motherfucking serious? Like, I disagree like a motherfucker with some of this shit. But I don't say that, you know, because it's not about me. It's not. That's not what this is about. So, oh, there's that dog again. Oh, he's so cute. I'm sorry. I love animals so much. Okay. So, the reason for this video today is not to talk about me or what I be doing or why I've been gone. I didn't even expect to bring that up. I just got a prompt, you know, and that's, you know, when I do this, when I get prompts, when I get spirit prompts, you know, spirit's my boss when it comes to this channel. So I got a spirit prompt. This is not going to be a reading. I'm not going to be using cards. It's a message, okay? And it's about another subject that I have a lot of ego-based opinions on, but I'm going to leave that out because it ain't about me. I have a message about twin flames and karmic partners, situations, you know, in the collective and spiritual circles. You hear, like, primarily about karmic relationships, romantic relationships, and there's a lot of those, but there's a lot of karmic relationships. Like your mama, your daddy, your brother, your boss, your mailman. Those could all be karmic connections, and not just people. Your literal job could be a karmic situation, okay? So there's a lot of different things that we experience on this path that fits into karmic situations, which result in karmic lessons. You know, you've heard that term, is this a blessing or a lesson? You know, some shit like that. Like, it's either a blessing or it's a lesson. And, you know, my ego's kicking in like, man, fuck that shit, even lessons are blessings. But that's the point. Is with a blessing, it's more like it's just good, you know, like a reward, or, you know, you don't feel, the blessing sort of feels like the reward for going through the lesson, okay? Because the lessons are generally shitty. Like, they're generally something that on some level it feels like sandpaper. You're like, fuck this shit. It could be, yeah, I'm not really a fan of this. Or it could be, you don't get this motherfucker out of my face in 2 seconds, I'm gonna rip his head off of his shoulder straight up. I'm gonna burn the building down. Okay, so there's a big, you know, difference in how negatively it may affect you. But how you know it's karmic is if you're like, you try to get away from it, but you're either tied to it, and no matter what you do, you can't get the fuck away from it, or you want to leave it, but it's like, there's something, you know what I mean? Like, there's a connection. You're like, I don't want to do this anymore, but I feel like I'm supposed to. You know, it's like there's the reluctance, but yet, even though you don't necessarily choose it, enjoy it, like it, whatever, you still doing it. That's karmic. Ding, ding, ding. You found it. Okay? That's what karmic shit is. And it doesn't mean you completely hate it. Generally, when we're dealing with the karmic thing, there are also threads of intense love. Oh, I love this so much, except this motherfucker keeps chewing with his mouth open. That's just a joke, but that could be part of it. But that's a joke. But it's like, you know, I love parts of it, but there's other parts of it that turns me into the Incredible Hulk, or makes me want to do some crazy shit, like, you know, shred up some tires and get some lights turned off. Something like that, or whatever, you know? So it's usually mixed. Because if you just straight up absolutely hated it, it don't matter how strong you feel connected to that shit, you're just gonna be like, man, fuck you, and walk away, okay? There's gotta be something that keeps you there, because, you know, we can crawl up on every motherfucking cross we want to every goddamn day, okay? But I'll tell you one thing right now, human nature is selfish at the base of it, in the way, what I mean is, if you ain't getting nothing out of it, you ain't gonna motherfucking do it, okay? Now, that's just something that everybody needs to accept about life. And I feel like there's a stigma around that. And, you know, that's a lot of societal based shit. There's a lot of reasons for that, a lot. But, and I'm not saying that people aren't selfless and they don't, you know, give and sacrifice. They do those things because it makes them feel good. Okay? I'm just gonna be straight up with you. That's part of being alive. If you don't like it, if it doesn't make you feel good, if it doesn't give you something that you are enjoying on some level, you ain't gonna fuck with it, okay? So, if it's all bad, you're just gonna bounce, okay? So, there has to be something in it that you enjoy, or you're not gonna do it. So, the main message that Spirit was giving me to discuss is actually the karmic love relationships. Yeah, I'm checking, you know, I'm filling it out to make sure I want to get it right. because I'm a little surprised about that. I'm really not sure why a spirit just had me do that huge spiel if it's just going to be about that. Who knows what it's going to turn into, but so I guess this is the message. Somebody needs to hear this, okay? When it comes to romantic karmic relationships, you could be married to a karmic. There could be, different tiers of levels of karmic relationships that are romantic. But apparently, I don't know, maybe a lot of people are struggling with this right now. Maybe some people just really need this information. Who the fuck knows? But the message is, those romantic karmic situations are about your parents. Mostly just straight up your parents. Now, not all of you were raised by your parents, but you were raised by somebody, okay? So let's just say parents. Could be, your grandma, could be strangers, who knows? Everybody has a different story. But your romantic, karmic relationships are about your parents, whoever raised you. That's a message. And that could also involve siblings. Anybody, okay? The people who you were around on the reg as a child, who you either looked up to, you treated like trash because you looked at them like they were below you. They were straight up your parents, they raised you. People who were around you as a child who had some sort of major impact on you and hurt you in some way, or like left some sort of unfinished business in you, something like that. That's what that's about. So, like, for example, my last karmic, like, he almost straight up looked exactly like my father as a child. It was a little unsettling. Like, he used words that I had only heard my father use. But that's because he was my last karmic, so that was like the boss battle. It was a big deal. And I felt a ridiculous amount of love for him. But the thing is, this is the thing. I guess this is the message. Because I can feel it in the collective. I can feel it. There's confusion. It's like there's confusion about what this love is, what it means. So the love that I had for all of my karmic relationships, because all of the relationships I've been in have been karmic relationships, because I ain't married, and that's my personal journey. I only have one husband. He fits into the category, I guess, of twin flame. But there's only one for me. That's my personal journey. But all of my past lovers, relationships, whatever, they were all karmic. They were all lessons. And I had, personally, a lot of really intense abuse as a child. So I had a lot of karmic shit to work through. It took me a long time, and it was very painful. And so did I love them? Yeah. Was it the kind of love that I have for my husband? No. Not even close. Like, there's no way they can compare at all, because the karmic, and this is kind of weird, okay, but the love for the karmic romantic partners is an echo, like leftovers, redirected, overflowing love for my own family. Now that's not like some ancestral shit, okay? That's not, because it sounds weird, but it's really not. It's like this dude comes into my life and I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel so much love for you, but it confuses me. And it's because it's like all that love that I wanted to give and receive in exchange with my father. But I was not able to because my father had his own issues. He had his own blockages when it came to love because of his own path. Now, it didn't feel like the same way it felt with my father, of course, because it's not my father, you see. So that's why it's like it can be intense, but it can feel strange, like I don't understand. You know, how I don't understand this feeling. And a lot of people can struggle with what they think is codependence with a romantic karmic partner, but it's because it's really not codependence. It's literally the lessons. It's literally like, as a child, you were not able to be properly dependent upon your fucking parents. So there's like parts of you, your inner child, there's parts of you that is still hurting, is still trying to reach out through these karmic relationships and be dependent upon the person you're in a relationship with in the same ways that you should have been able to depend on your parents, but there was a break there. There was some reason why you couldn't. There was neglect, some type of abuse. Okay, it's like you felt like you needed more. And it isn't like there's anything wrong with you. You weren't overly needy. It's legit. You needed to be able to be dependent upon your parents, whoever raised you, in those ways. But for whatever your personal story is, for whatever those reasons are, you couldn't. You missed something, okay? So that's why it turns into a karmic situation. Because you're with those people to heal those parts of you. And it's tricky as fuck, okay? It really is. I consider myself pretty high level when it comes to, you know, spirituality, psychology, understanding really fucked up shit, because it's just who I am, you know? I'm like really high priestess-ish-y. So, and I'm a big freak. Like, I'm just extremely interested in the human condition. It's just who I am. So, even though I have a pretty good understanding of things, and I'm completely humble at the same time, I learn shit every day. Every single day I'm like, oh my gosh, wow, I'm such an idiot. I can't believe it took me so long to figure that out. But even though I have a high level of understanding of these things, it still confuses the fuck out of me. Okay? So it's tricky. It's a tricky situation. Okay? So, and I know a lot about this, so I could probably really counsel a lot of people and help them sift through this stuff and understand it better, because I've went through a lot of things that have helped me learn how to connect these dots and see these reflections. And there's a lot, you know, like this is a lot to understand. It's a lot to explain, and that's the point. Because if you're on a spiritual journey and you're awakened enough to even be watching this video, I lost my train of thought. That's strange. That was really weird. It was like, I don't know, I just got redirected, and I'm not sure why. So I'm just gonna roll with it. So it's tricky. It's hard to understand. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, hang on a second. Let me make sure I'm not getting off on a tangent. So I guess that's it. I'm trying to see if there is anything else. So I guess maybe the last message is that as you're working through these karmic situations, Spirit just wanted to let everybody know that at the root of all of it is about self-love, how you feel about yourself, how you look at yourself. Like earlier when I referred to myself as an idiot, that might have been what threw me off, because I could hear my guides like, you're not supposed to be talking to yourself like that. Like that's part of it. Like that's the conditioning. So it's about how we feel about ourselves, how we treat ourselves, how we were taught to treat ourselves by how we were treated as children. And so with these karmic relationships, when they pop up, they generally will treat us in the same sort of ways that our parents did, and it will be highly triggering, depending on the level of abuse that you had. Most people have some type of abuse. It's just kind of the way it is. Like, I'm not sure I've ever really met anybody who has been like, I didn't have any abuse as a child. I'm not saying they're not out there, because they are, but there's a lot, I don't think. So I think everybody dealt with some sort of, issues, because that's the whole point. Life is not perfect. So we're not perfect. We make mistakes. People make mistakes as parents. That's the whole point of life. If everybody just had all their shit together and everybody just did things the right way from the beginning, what would be the point? I mean, we would sort of be in what people consider heaven to be, if that's how it was. But boo, this ain't heaven, okay? We got some shit to go through here. This is like a school, like a spirit school. And it's not easy. And depending on, I don't know, it feels like depending on how many times you have lived, how many cycles your soul has had, the type of mission you chose before you were born, all those things sort of denote the level of difficulty that you face. Now, I had personally like a gargantuan amount of difficulty, but everything in this realm is yin yang. There's the polarity. So since I had that gargantuan level of difficulty, the flip side of that coin is I'm a motherfucking super psychic, and I have a ridiculous amount of skills and abilities, and I can look into you and probably tell you what you had for breakfast 2 weeks ago. Crazy shit like that. So there, it's a give and take. Like, I have a ridiculous ability to love. It's just like there are positives that balance out the negatives. So, like it's just the way that it is, and then your astrology plays into it. It's a whole deal. It's just all of the different parts and pieces of this realm, of this of this life. And it's weird. Spirit keeps drawing me back to the reality that there are some people who it's almost like they just don't even pay attention to this shit. And I can't even imagine that because of who I am and the path that I'm on. But there literally are some people out there who are, they just go through the motions, you know, they're just like 9 to 5, I just do this. I'm not, you know, here to learn anything. I'm not, and that's weird. I don't know why Spirit keeps bringing me back to that. Like, because I mean, I just personally assume everybody is dealing with this shit. I don't know. So, that's strange. I'm not sure I really understand that. But nonetheless, that's what Spirit is saying. You know, not everybody is on like an actual spiritual journey. But if you are, you know it. You know who you are, you know what your life is, you know what you're dealing with. And if you're anywhere close to me, close to where I am, me personally, my mission, path, whatever, you're, people kind of refer to us as light workers. There's a lot of different, you know, names, titles. You're probably going to feel like you don't fit in anywhere and sort of like you're an alien. And I guess that would make sense according to what Spirit just said about how some people are just not on that type of a journey, which would create that feeling of not fitting in. So, I don't know, have rising Gemini, so I'm so curious about everything. I dig everything apart. I analyze everything. So, if I talk about something, if Spirit gives me something and it seems new to me, that part of me is going to kick in and I'm going to be like, oh, I need to dig that apart. But I'm not supposed to be doing that during this video. So, okay, so, yeah. So if you're struggling with, like, a karmic relationship of some sort, or, like, or if you're wondering, is this a karmic situation or isn't it? It will fit into those categories that I gave earlier, like, there will be lots of triggers, lots of lessons. You will feel like there is something that you want from that person, but you can't figure out how to get it from them. There will be, you know, it'll be rolled back and forth, hot and cold, I love you, I hate you. Sometimes this is great, you know, sometimes I want to murder you in your sleep. That's kind of a joke, kind of not. That's how you'll know. Because if it isn't karmic, you know, if it's just like your soulmate or if it's your twin flame, I guess I haven't experienced that, so I don't want to speak from, I can't say I can speak from experience, but Spirit is telling me that those higher level relationships, after you've worked through all the karmic shit, they're just chill, they're just relaxed. You know, you're just like, hey, I like you. And they're like, hey, I like you too. And then you go and do shit that you like together. You don't fight, you know, you're not like, oh my fucking God, why does everything suck? Why do, you know, one day it's this, one day it's that. You have all these issues, I have all these issues, you're triggering me constantly. I'm gonna die. Okay, it's not like that. So that's how you know if you're dealing with a karmic relationship and if you're struggling with it. If you're like, I don't know what to do about this. Maybe you have kids with that person. You know, maybe you have some sort of tie to that person. Spirit's saying it does not matter what sort of ties you have to that person, whether you're married to them or you have kids with them or you're whatever. It doesn't matter. All of those things will naturally work themselves out and fall away once you have learned all your lessons. And it will happen in a way that is for the highest good for everybody involved, in case there's kids involved. And so the advice is, like, when your karmic partner hurts you, triggers you, upsets you in some way, the advice is to ask yourself why. And I feel like Spirit's telling me there are a lot of people out there right now who are in karmic relationships, and they're relying very heavily on drugs and alcohol, different substances. I did the same thing. You know, I'm totally sober now. Like, all I have is just caffeine, and that's not, you know, necessary. It's just so. Spirit's saying, if you are one of those people in a karmic relationship and you are using a lot of substances that is putting you in a fog, and you're also like feeling like you're gonna snap, the advice is to tone it down a lot with the substances, because you need to be able to think more clearly, because you have to work through your lessons, or it's going to be tower moment after tower moment after tower moment, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And what that means is there's going to be explosions, and they're going to be worse and worse and worse. And that's happening because you're not thinking, you're not like dealing with the actual issue at hand. And the message is, how to do that is to try to get your head as clear as you can so you can think. And when you get triggered, you have to give yourself space, give yourself alone time, and actually start to take care of yourself, which is sort of the point with the karmic shit, is to learn how to properly care for yourself, because you weren't taught as a child. Okay, it's those reflections of those times where there was lack. There was either neglect, or somebody was too hard on you and taught you to be too hard on yourself. Hence me calling myself an idiot. You know, whatever the case, maybe they spoiled you too much and just let you do whatever the fuck you wanted, and now you're just a tyrant. You know, bully, really pushy and shit. Like, there's a lot of different things, but you need to go away from the situation and actually start to care for yourself. And that means talk to yourself in a way that is actually useful, instead of just insulting yourself. Oh, I'm such an idiot, I can't believe I did that, blah blah blah, whatever, I suck, I should just kill myself and die, whatever. Instead of doing that, ask yourself, why is this upsetting me so much? Like, for real, why? Not, what am I gonna do about this? Why is this upsetting me so much? And then dig. When was the first time I experienced something like this? There is a book out there called Radical Forgiveness. I can't remember the author. But it's a bomb-ass book. And if you're really struggling with your karmic relationship, I would suggest buying that book or renting that book and reading it. I think that you can look it up and get some worksheets for it online. It's called Radical Forgiveness, and it helps a lot. It helps you put the situations that you're currently dealing with into proper perspective. It helps you, and you could do it with anything. Like, I wanted my eggs over easy, but she made them sunny side up and it pissed me off. Boom. That seems really insignificant, but if you use a radical forgiveness sheet with that, it will show you that that is tied to something that is not insignificant at all. It's just they're connected in a certain way. So you can be getting all up in your feels about some shit that your conscious mind is telling you you're crazy for being upset about. But you just might not realize that that is attached to maybe being abandoned when you're 3 years old. And you just in the moment can't see how those dots connect, but they do. With the level of hurt and pain that you feel about things, that gives you an indication of how big of a hurt that's actually attached to as a child when you were younger. Because it's all about that. It's all about you healing from the things inside of you that you don't even know is hurt, or it's hidden, it's blocked, it's repressed. You were taught, hey, you're being a big fucking baby, don't worry about those things, just focus on getting that money, whatever. So ask yourself why you're upset about it. Try to, the best way to connect the dots, especially if you're not using any other tools, is to try to remember the first time that you experienced something like that. Okay, like an example is like, say somebody makes fun of you, somebody insults you, somebody says, no, that's wrong. Like you're sharing something with them and they're like, no, I don't think that's right. And you're super triggered. Like, what? What do you mean that's not right? What do you mean? Then ask yourself, well, when was the first time I can remember in my whole life, as young as I possibly can go back, when was the first time I remember just saying, like, going to somebody and trying to explain something to them or share something with them, an opinion, what I saw, whatever, you were like, hey, what about this? You were probably really innocent about it and open and vulnerable. Hey, what about this? Or hey, it could be this. When was the first time that you did that and somebody was like, nah, I don't fucking think so, you're an idiot, you're wrong. And you were just like heartbroken. You were just like, what? Crushed. Boom. There's your connector. And then once you realize that, it's almost like your brain almost immediately starts to shift, change your perspective on it. You're like, oh, that's why that bothers me so much. And then immediately you realize it ain't even about that person. It's not even about that current situation that you're dealing with. It's about that old wound. And it's about how it made you feel about yourself. Like you created a definition. Like, I'm not allowed to share how I feel about things without receiving a rebuttal or some type of verbal abuse or whatever. That's just one example. So that's it. And now another thing Spirit wants to tell you is this is really hard for a lot of people to accept. It was hard for me to accept because I, really wanted my dad in my life. So because I really wanted my dad in my life, it was very difficult for me to accept that my last karmic relationship was going to end. And it wasn't even necessarily because I always wanted to be with him. It was because I wanted my dad, and I couldn't separate those things in my mind. So the thought of losing him fucked me up because it was attached to that part of me that was abandoned by my own father. So, so the message is to understand that your karmic situations are not made to last. They're not. They are made to end. Period. That's really hard for some people to accept. And it's also really hard for people to even fathom that it's a good thing for them to end. Because they can't fathom that there's something better out there for both of you. That the next chapter will be better. And they can't, their inner child, that part of them that's wounded, can't fathom what life would be like without their parents. or whatever the case. So even if you have kids, if you have whatever kind of connections, whatever ties you have with your karmics, the message that Spirit's giving me is that once you actually face all of your triggers and you learn your lessons and you man up, woman up, start to treat yourself better, and you actually deal with the real issues. Now for me it wasn't like this. It was a gigantic explosion at the end of my last relationship. But the message the Spirit is giving me for y'all is that it will peacefully sort of dissolve and sort of peacefully transform into something better. I fucking wish it would have been like that for me. I'm not sure why it wasn't, but that's y'all's message. So that's good. And so yeah, and the other message is, even if you haven't had a lot of romantic karmic relationships, you still had karmic relationships, whether it was with friends or whatever. You could be dealing with like a crazy karmic relationship with your own parents. Like maybe you're just still connected to your actual parents. And, you didn't go out and have to face reflections through other people. Maybe you're still actually dealing with those people. There's a lot of, different ways that this can go down because everybody has a different path. So, at the end of the day, it's all about you healing and learning how to better care for yourself. And sometimes, the lesson is just saying no. No, I'm not interested. You're treating me like shit. I don't like the way you're treating me. So, fuck off. That's not really very healthy thing to say. But, it's like, no. No. No, you don't control me. No, you can't tell me how to live my life. No, I don't like it because you're narcissistic and I don't like it. No, you're gaslighting me. No, you're not supporting me. No, you're making me feel bad. No. No. Like, sometimes that is the lesson. Learning how to say no. I love you, but fuck no. I'm not going to accept that treatment. And, if that is what you have to do, if that's part of what you're dealing with, you might go through a little bit of time where you feel like, you really don't have a lot of people in your life. Because if you're somebody who doesn't know how to say no, you've probably accumulated a village of assholes who are treating you in ways that you don't like because you don't know how to say no. So if that's your issue and, your biggest karmic lesson is to learn how to say no, once you start saying no, you're going to realize you're going to be saying no to almost everybody that you know. And then there's going to be a little bit of a space there where, you might feel lonely. You're like, wow, everybody's gone. And that might be difficult, but the good news about that is that if that is your path and you are doing that, that means that it's good because you're clearing out space for the new energy to come in. If you learn how to say no and you say no to a lot of things, because this is a realm of constant motion, you're always going to have new people come in. You're always going to have new opportunities come in. Always. Even if there's a little bit of a pause, more things are going to come in. And then you're going to get the chance to either say no or say yes. Don't say yes unless it feels like a motherfucking yes. Okay? Don't say yes unless it makes you excited, unless it makes you laugh, unless it makes you feel alive, unless it makes you feel like a better person, unless it makes you feel like it's making you more happy, more ambitious, brighter. You know, unless it raises your vibration. Don't say yes unless it's a fuck yes. If it's a it's probably a fucking no. Okay? And it's alright to say no. Say no. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. You know, if it's not like ding, it turns you on like a light bulb, it's a no. Now, this is the reason why. Because if it's mediocre and you say yes to mediocre, mediocre is what you're gonna fucking get. And mediocre is what's gonna keep coming. If you're like, but you say yes to that, then boom, you're like, okay, that's the frequency, that's the vibration I'm attaching to. So then every new thing that comes in is going to make you feel like, And then your whole life is going to be lame. You're not going to attract those things that light you up. If it's not a fuck yes, it's a fuck no. If you want to be happy and you want to live a life that you're excited to wake up for in the morning, that's how it's got to be done. And, you know, sometimes that can be the scariest thing. Sometimes that can be the scariest thing for us, is to have the courage to say, no. No thanks. And then other times it can be equally as scary to say yes to the fuck yes. Because it could be a fuck yes and you might be like, oh, that's such a fuck yes. And I'm so afraid to say it. I'm just going to hide from it and pretend like it's not there. But it's there and it's so fuck yesy. But you're just like, oh, I might screw it up. Nah, boo, you won't. You just won't. I mean, you might, but I just feel like it's doubtful, because that's just not really how it goes. Well, let me check that with Spirit. Yeah, Spirit agrees. Spirit agrees. If it's a fuck yes, you should just say fuck yes to it. And let it come in, you know, let it come in, because it's like, that's how you let your happiness come in, and that's how you move forward, and that's how you eliminate all of these things from your life that bring you down and make you unhappy, you know. It's tricky, because when you tell somebody you create your life sucks because you've made it this way, that just makes somebody want to knock your teeth out, okay? Like, there's tact, you know, there's ways, you really have to explain that kind of shit, because it's confusing. There's a lot of things that go into it, and what I just explained is, kind of, I feel like the base bones of it. You know, what you say yes to really explodes your reality with the energy of that thing. Okay, I think I'm done. So, I love y'all, and I'll talk to you later.